this is Brian with ActiveMelody.com. In this week's guitar lesson, I'm going to show you how to play everything that I just played in the intro. We're going to break it all down note for note, and I'm going to also show you the whys behind it so that you can take this little jam and you can extend it if you want to. And you can have your own jam session with yourself. It's a lot of fun. These solo compositions like this are great because a lot of times you don't have a jam track or you don't have another musician to play along with. And if somebody says, hey, play something on guitar, you're kind of like scrambling for ideas. So this is another thing that you can do on your own. It sounds great by itself with a heavy overdrive. It also sounds pretty good clean channel if you want to go that way too. So this is an Eric Clapton Cream era influence. There's a lot of Cream licks that I've thrown into that. There's a little bit of Robin Trower as well, so it's kind of Robin Trower meets Eric Clapton. A lot more Eric Clapton though. I've got this lesson split into two parts. In this video we're going to take a look at the first half. If you'd like to watch the second half, as well as download the tablature and access the on-screen tab viewer, which lets you see the tab and the video on the screen at the same time, very cool feature. You can get all of that at ActiveMelody.com. Just look for EP176. So let's go ahead and get started with part one. Alright, so let's talk through tone settings and then we'll jump into all the specifics of the lesson. Now I know I'm going to get questions on tone, so I'll be brief and try and just give you a quick overview of what I'm playing through. I'm playing through the Epiphone Sheraton 2, and some of you are probably wondering why I'm not playing on the Gibson ES335. That would be more appropriate for a Cream lesson. Well, I don't have that guitar with me today. But I grabbed this guitar, and I love this guitar. It just sounds great, and it plays great, and it sounds really good with a lot of overdrive. So you don't have to have a real high-end hollow body guitar like the 335. It's a great guitar from a collectible standpoint. It's got a good resale value, but these guitars are great too. I paid $250, I think, somewhere around there for this. I picked it up used at a Guitar Center here in Nashville. And I fell in love with it, and I did a little bit of neck setup and changed the strings, and that's about it. It's just been a great guitar. Now I'm in the middle pickup spot, so I'm between these two pickups, and I have the tone, both tones on this guitar, all the way up, and the volume is at about 8 out of 10. And so I'm going out of this guitar and into a Zen drive. That's what I'm using for the overdrive for this. Normally I don't play through that. I usually play through a TS-808 pedal, which is made by Ibanez, or a Blues Driver BD2 pedal, but I'm liking this Zen drive for this if you need a little more oomph for something real heavy like this. Heavy, but not heavy metal heavy. You know, it doesn't crunch. It's just got a real nice kind of mid-range to sort of bass sound to me, and it just sounds like something you would hear from the Cream era. Now there's 4 dials on that pedal, and I've got the gain at about 8, I guess. That's probably the most important one. I'm going out of that pedal into a PV Classic 20-watt head. The head allows me to go right into the camera. That's why I use that head. I love it, though. It's a great head. I've got it set at about, I think I've got it, yes, I have it at 5 watts, so I'm not using 20. I'm just using 5. It gives you a little more breakup when you do that. And I have the reverb set at about 3. All right, there's your tone. Let's get into the song. So the song is in the key of A. The song is in the key of A, and we're going to start by playing that low A string, which is just the open 5th string. Now we're going to go into the call. So I mentioned in the intro there's a call and response. So the call will be Robin Trower, think of it that way, and the response will be Eric Clapton. So we're going to have the rhythm part. Every time the rhythm, anytime you hear me talk about the rhythm, that's going to be... That'll be the rhythm. And then the response will be, you know, some kind of lead played in the A minor pentatonic scale. That's really how we're going to do this. And what's nice about this format is once you set it up and you realize, okay, I can play the same rhythm part every time, and the lead part I can improvise on. That's how you can take this and you can extend it, as I mentioned, and take it somewhere else. I thought about using this full tone vibe pedal. You can hear what that sounds like. It gives it more of a, that sounds more like a Robin Trower type thing, but I don't know. I ended up switching that off. If you have a vibe pedal, you might want to try playing it through that too. You get a different sort of mellow feel. Okay, so after you hit that A string, what I'm doing is I'm borrowing the first 4 strings here on the 5th fret. And when I'm playing strings 4, 3, and 2. And then I'm going to take my ring finger and come up and play those, or bar those same strings, but on the 7th fret, and play strings 4, 3, and 2 again, and then back to the 5th fret. So when you put it all together, it sounds like this. And that's the rhythm part. That's the call. So even if you can't play the lead stuff, even if that's too fast and you're fairly new at guitar, you should be able to, at minimum, be able to do that. 2, 3, 4. And that gives you a really cool rhythm to play just by going back and forth between these two little barrings here. It sounds great to me. And then we can throw in that E part when we get to that, which is just an E7 chord. But let's start there. So after we do the first call, let's go into the lick number 1. So that'll be the first thing that I played. So that was the first thing that I played right out of the Cream playbook. You know, I hear Clapton doing a lot of this kind of stuff back then. Now, I'm in minor pentatonic scale pattern 1. That's where we're going to start. If you don't know what I mean when I say pattern 1, I do have a blues lead course available at Active Melody that goes through all 5 patterns. But we're going to be starting here in pattern 1. And we're going to, when I do this bar here on the 5th fret, I can hammer on to the 7th fret 4th string with my ring finger. I'm playing strings 4 and 3, those middle 2 strings, and I'm going to do this. You can see they're just downstrokes with my right hand, and I'm just hammering on between the 5th fret and the 7th fret here on the 4th string. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. They're triplets. Triplet. And then the 3rd one I went. So it's 7th fret 5th string, then we jump down to the 3rd fret 5th string, 5th fret 5th string, back to the 3rd fret, and then your open A string. Now this little part that I'm playing down here, some of you may be wondering where that is. Well, that's just an extension on pattern 1, and I covered that actually in the pattern 1 video in that blues lead course. I show you this little box you have down here, which is nice because you have just between these 2 frets, these 4 notes here, are a nice little low end to the minor pentatonic scale. I find myself using that a lot. So let's back up. We have, and then I went. Now the timing is going to be maybe the biggest challenge in this for some of you. So now when I was playing this in the intro, I was tapping my foot. Now the mic didn't pick that up, but you may want to set a metronome. In fact, I would set one and I would dial it way back and just try and get it real slow. So the way you would count this is if we were to count 8 times, so if you were to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, every time I'm saying 1, that's where I'm going to hit the A, the open A. Let me try and demonstrate this while I'll try and count it while playing it. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1. It was a little sloppy, hard to do both at the same time, but that you get the gist. You can see how this comes in on the 1 each time. So if you're playing along with a metronome and you get lost, just remember to always come back to that call part where it needs to be. You can actually fumble the response. You can fumble it even pretty bad, but you can't fumble the call. As weird as that, you got to have something that the listener's ear latches onto that is home base, so that it all makes sense. The rest of it you can get off in your timing, but always come in on the 1 there. Okay, so that's lick number 1. Now lick number 2, I went like this. Another Clapton lick where he would do these little trills like that, and what I'm doing is it's a hammer on, pull off, hammer on, Hammer on, pull off, hammer on. It looks and sounds more difficult than it is. When you get used to doing these, and you can learn these fairly quickly, you can use them a lot, and it really kind of enhances your playing. I use them all the time. You can use them between, you know, different strings and on the same string, but it's the same technique each time. Hammer on, pull off, hammer on. Okay, so here's the lick. It slides from the 5th fret to the 7th fret on the 4th string. Then it goes to the 7th or to the 5th fret 3rd string. 7th fret on the 3rd string. And then here's the little technique here. So we take our ring finger off, index fingers on the 5th fret 3rd string. There's your hammer on, pull off, hammer on. Notice I picked that once. Okay? And then back to the 5th fret 3rd string. And then we're just going to walk it back down. 7, 5, 7. That's the 4th string, and then there's the 5th string. So when you put it together, that lick sounds like that. Now the timing, again, if you took the little trill part out, it would sound like that. So you might want to try it without doing that technique first, just to try and get the feel of it, and then add that in if you want. Okay, so that's the second lick. All right, so that third lick sounds like this. So another very Clapton thing. He uses that even to this day. Now here's how I'm playing it. I go ahead and bar the first 2 strings on the 5th fret, and then I take my ring finger on the 7th fret 3rd string. Keeping that bar down, I'm going to go ahead and do a full bend. Now notice I'm using these 2 fingers to push the string. So you don't want to just do it with one finger. You won't have the leverage. It always helps. This guy's not doing anything anyway. You might as well have him help out. And by pushing with 2 fingers, it's not that difficult. It's not as difficult. There's your bend. Then we're going to play 2 and 1. So that's your first. Now that lick just by itself is huge in rock and roll. I think of it as Chuck Berry. Actually, Chuck would play, but you hear it in, you know, everything from Angus Young to you name it uses that. Great lick. Just so practice that if you're new to it. But now after that, I went. So I came down here. I kept my bar here. Ring finger goes down to the 8th fret 2nd string. I pick it and then do a pull off. And then I hammer on with my middle finger to the 7th fret 3rd string. So let's put it together. We have. And then I'm going to do an upstroke there on the 5th fret 2nd string. Now watch this. My index finger goes from this position and comes down and grabs one more string to grab the 3rd string on the 5th fret so that I can go. And when I play that, I'm going to hit that's the 5th fret, 7th fret, both on the 3rd string. Back to the 5th fret. Now, when I'm doing these playing this 5th fret 3rd string, I'm doing a little bend there with it. That seems subtle, but that's a huge part of the cream sound. Clapton uses that all the time. If you don't do that, it falls flat. And so anytime you're hitting that note, you're pushing it a little bit sharp. So you may want to just practice going. Look at the motion of my hand. It's just rocking back and forth. So I've instinctively learned through the years, anytime I'm hitting that note, and a lot of this came from listening to John Mayall and the Blues Breakers, the Beano album, you know, where he did songs like Hideaway, where he just almost overplayed that to a point that it's just ingrained in my head. I like that sound so much. So anyway, remember to bend that note. So after that, I came back to that low A. All right, now that's a lot of information. Let's back up and play it from the beginning up to that point. I'll play through it slowly. So here we go. Try and play along if you can. Okay, now this fourth time, I don't finish the call. I played it to there so that I can start this little lick that takes us to the E part. And I intentionally didn't finish that lick because I thought it sounded more dramatic to jump into it, to break the cadence and jump into that lick right away instead of finishing out the thought and then going to it. It just sounded more unexpected, maybe. One other thing I haven't mentioned, and I should have said this in the beginning, every time you're hitting that A, and then you're playing the little chord part, let that A ring out. You can hear how the A rang out through that whole thing. You got to be careful not to bump it when you're playing these chords. It's easy for that finger to just accidentally tap it, and it doesn't take much, and it'll kill the sound. So try and just make sure your fingers are think of that as an electric fence. You want to stay away from it. Now, obviously, once you get to the lick part, it doesn't matter. You can stop it and do what you got to do, but while you're playing the rhythm part. Okay, so that last time then, I just went and then ended the rhythm there and went right into... Now, what I'm playing, I've got my middle finger on the 8th fret 2nd string and my ring fingers on the 9th fret 3rd string. But where this is this is pattern 2 of the minor pentatonic scale. So we have pattern 1 right here, right? Well, pattern 2 is this little extension right up here. So when I'm going, I'm playing the bottom part of pattern 2. And the reason I use these fingers instead of these two is because anytime I play this lick right here, I'm always using my middle finger, my ring finger, so that I can real easily come back down into this position in pattern 1 and play something down here. If you're playing it with these two fingers, it's too difficult, at least for me, to switch and play something down here. It depends on what you're going to do. Now, right there, I did switch and play with these two because I was doing a bend here. It just depends, I suppose. I shouldn't say that it's all one way or the other, but for this, I keep this finger free. Okay, so I did, let's see, 1, 2, 3. I did 3 of those, and then slid down to the 7th fret on the 3rd string, 5th fret, and then the 7th fret 4th string, and then hit that low E string because we're going to the E part. So notice again, hear that note? Every time I hit it, I'm pushing it a little sharp. That's Clapton. That's what he does. Now we're down to that E. I love that sound, just so raw and dirty sound. Now, I'm just playing an E chord, so I got the low 6th string, then I'm going to play the top 2 strings out of the E chord. Now, I'm going to make the whole chord here. Just by hitting the low 6th string and then these top 2 strings, you get this sound with overdrive that it's as powerful to me. It doesn't sound nearly as powerful. You play the whole chord. It's just that sounds pretty powerful to me. Now I'm going to come and I'm going to add my pinky here to the 3rd fret 2nd string. And what I'm doing is I'm keeping the E chord and I'm going to... Actually, I don't think I have time for vibrato. But that's how I'm doing it. I'm just playing on those top 2 strings. And then I came up here and played and went right back to the A part. Now let's look at that. Now the hardest part for me in doing this was going from where you've got your pinky down to slide up here and switch fingers so that you're going to grab with your ring finger up here. That was just a little bit challenging for me as I played through the intro. I found I wasn't making mistakes on anything except for that, and I just kept bumping the wrong thing. So that's what you want to do, is you want to lose that E7 chord and then come up with your ring finger. And I'm on the 10th fret 2nd string, by the way, when I'm hitting that. And that's just pattern 2. That's the note that I'm hitting, is right out of pattern 2. Now, before we move on, when I'm down in that E part, you could do whatever you want over that E. If you're going to do it, though, play something in E pentatonic, E minor pentatonic, rather. So, since we've switched keys in that point, you could do something like that. You could go, come up here and play, that was pattern 4 out of the E minor pentatonic scale or whatever. You could even go all the way up to pattern 1, an octave higher. But you don't have to play just the chord that I'm showing you. I'm wanting you to start to think about how this stuff works, and you realize it's not as difficult as you think once you get the structure of it. So we've really got two scales that we're working with. We got the minor pentatonic. Actually, for everything that I'm showing you that I played in the intro, it's just one scale. It's just that minor pentatonic scale. I'm just giving you the option if you want to do something instead of just playing the chord. You could go into whatever lick you want there for E. All right, so after I play the E chord, when I slide up here, I'm going to the 10th fret 2nd string, and I'm hitting that note twice, and then I'm going to take my index finger and play the 8th fret 1st string, 10th fret 2nd string. So we have, and then my middle finger goes to the 9th fret 3rd string, and as soon as I play it, I slide down to the 7th string. And then I'm going to go. Again, you hear that going sharp, that 5th fret 3rd string. Every time you play that note, just push it sharp. Just remember that. It's going to work every time. So after I play that, there's the 7th fret 4th string, and then back to the 5th fret 3rd string. So let me play through that little lick slowly from the E. And then we're back to the A part. Now that's going to be a wrap for this first video. And then we'll get into all the other licks that you're going to learn, a whole new set of licks for the part 2 video. Be sure to check out Premium Membership if you haven't. I do a lesson like this every Friday. Or I shouldn't say Friday. As of now, it's Friday. It could change in the future, who knows. But every week, I definitely put out a high-quality lesson like this. So if you're serious about guitar, you should check it out. It's a really good deal. Okay. Let me back up. I'm going to play through all of this part 1 one last time so you have it as a reference, and I'll play through it slowly, and then we'll see you in the part 2 video. So here we go. Okay, that's part one. I'll see you in part two.